See, last thing what we were studying was about understanding the importance of IUPAC, what are its classification, and most importantly, what are functional groups. Right? We learned various functional groups, right, from alkane, alkynes, alkenes to alkyl halides, alcohols, and how the different acid derivatives are present. And then generally we learned what are the important terminologies regarding IUPAC, what is secondary prefix, primary prefix, what is root word, primary, then this is secondary prefix and secondary suffix. Correct. Then we discussed about classification of carbon and hydrogens, out of which first was on the basis of carbon-carbon attachments, where if one carbon is attached to another carbon, whether we would call it as primary, secondary, tertiary or quaternary is what we discussed. Based on that, we were able to identify how many number of primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary hydrogen atoms present on it. Okay. Then we discussed about the second classification where it was based upon the saturated and unsaturated type of carbons. So in case if we have an sp2 carbon, we used to call it as vinylic. If it is sp3, we call it as allylic, right? But it should be just connected to vinylic group. Then we have carbon which is double bonded in the phenyl ring or the benzene ring is called as phenylic carbon, and carbon which is just adjacent to the phenylic carbon is called as benzylic carbon. Based on that, we were also able to find out how many different number of hydrogens will be present on their respective positions. Okay, these are few questions which we discussed. The third classification was on the basis of terminology used as alpha, beta, gamma, delta and so on. Especially this is used when you have functional groups, right? When you have to define the functional groups where hydrogen becomes important on the adjacent carbons. Like this is alpha carbon, beta carbon, gamma carbon and so on. So for various functional groups, we have seen, especially when it comes to carbonyl groups, the carbon containing double bond itself is a functional group. So the adjacent carbon will become alpha. Okay. So this was the third classification which we were discussing. Today we will discuss about the fourth classification first, and then we will get into the IUPAC naming. Okay. So the fourth classification comes when you have open chains, especially when you have open chains. Alright. Within open chains, we will find out we can have alkyl forms, we can have alkynyl forms, and we can have alkyne yl forms. Okay. The minute I use alkyl, basically it is coming from the fact that when you have an alkane and if you remove one hydrogen, then this will become alkyl. Like if you have CH4 which is methane, remove one hydrogen, it will become methyl. So this will become methyl. What does that mean, remove one hydrogen? Basically you lose out one connection with hydrogen and connect it to some main chain. This is what we use the terminology as some main chain. For instance, if we have a group like this and I have one connection here, one connection like this, got it? One connection like this, suppose. Then this carbons which have some extra connected carbons, right? So this itself is a main chain, but these groups which are connected, these are not the main chain, these are called branches. And all these branches will have, you know, in the if they are in the open chain form, which means you can see they are all open chain, so they would have name like alkyl, alkynyl and alkyne yl. When do we use alkyl? When we just remove one hydrogen, right, and connect it, we usually use the word alkene, but it should come from the derivative of alkane. For example, if you see, this is one methyl group, one carbon group, so this is called methyl connection. Now this is two carbon connections, it is called ethyl connection. while here we have 3 carbon connection, not in a straight chain form. Got it? If it is not in a straight chain form, usually we call it as isopropyl and so on. I'm just writing it as an example. Now we'll see the entire list. Okay. So this is how the branches are being divided into. So this is the fourth classification, suggesting that how to use the terminology when the alkyl group, alkenyl groups are present on the main chain. Okay. So for example, suppose if you have this as the main chain, imagine this is the main chain which I am drawing. This is the main chain, and somewhere on the main chain I saw a connection like this. Okay. So first thing what we'll do, we will count the number of carbons. So we can see that there are 4 carbons present on it, and the 4 carbons are straight. There are no branching within. So in that case we call it as simply N-butyl, because it is coming from butane, we call it as N-butyl. Right. Suppose same way, in case if you have this carbon which I am writing, imagine this was butane. Everybody observe carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is butyl. Now what I am doing, the last carbon which was present here, right? So the last carbon, I am deleting that last carbon and placing it here. Got it? Now see how the structure has changed. Got it? So in case if you have n number of carbons, got it, and the last carbon, in case if we change it to the second last position, then you use the word iso. Suppose if you have this last alkyl group added on to this one, okay, at the second last position, you call it as the iso form. So now we have how many carbons? 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons. This is called isobutyl. Alright. So generic way of writing isobutyl is if you have CH3, CH, CH3, and then CH2 twice, CH2 n times connected with CH2 and to the main chain here. Somewhere this is the main chain. So then we will call this as the isoalkyl group. This is the isoalkyl group. Okay. We'll start with the simple 3 carbons here. Suppose if you have 2 carbons we can never write an iso form, because this last carbon itself is connected to the directly connected carbon. But if you have 3 carbons like this, now if I remove this carbon and place it here, it will change to this form now, like this. Now this can be used as isopropyl. Okay, similar to that of isobutyl. Now we can call it as isopropyl. So that is how we'll write the iso groups. Okay. Now suppose on a similar terminology, there is one more type of alkyl group known as neo-alkyl group. Suppose if you have a straight chain like this, and that is connected to a main chain, and see the last 2 carbons, this one as well as this one. Now these last 2 carbons, if at all I change them and put it here and the last position for it, and change that to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 this way, and this last carbon now if at all has 3 groups like this. Okay, so basically imagine that I remove this carbon and both placed here. Right. So in that case, now we will have a group like this. So basically, you need to get the last carbon to have, I mean the last carbon to be connected with the carbon which is 4 degree. It must be 4-degree carbon connected. So when this 4-degree carbon is connected like this, we call it as neo-alkyl group. So this is called neo-alkyl group. For instance, as an example I'll show you. If you have this way and it is connected to some root chain here, so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbons, but this last but one carbon which is connected is actually a 4-degree carbon. So this is called as neopentyl. So this is the name which we'll be using while writing the IUPAC. Okay, is it necessary that we have to write this name itself? Not necessary. We have a number system also which we'll be learning in a while. But these are very commonly used. What is iso, neo are very commonly used. Other than that, now if you check out all of you, if you check out in these cases, there is only one carbon which is connected, or the first carbon that is connected to one more carbon on the branch chain. So for instance, if you check out this first carbon here, this is only connected to one carbon in the branch chain. Here also this carbon is connected to this carbon here. So basically all of these carbons are only connected to this one carbon here. But if this carbon is connected to multiple carbons, then we will have a separate terminology. For example, imagine this is a main chain and this is a carbon connected, but on this carbon there are two carbons connected like this. Okay, so with respect to this carbon, according to the branches, there are two more carbons connected to it. So we read that as secondary alkyl group. So in this case it is propyl. So it will become secondary propyl group. Okay. Similarly, suppose if you have this main chain here and I have two groups connected like this. Now count the number of carbons: 1, 2, 3, 4. But the carbon which is connected to the alkyl group has two carbons attached in the branch, 1 and 2. So this is used as secondary butyl. Now in short we'll write it as sec butyl. We write it as sec butyl. Here also we write it as sec propyl, secondary propyl. If you may observe, secondary propyl also has one more name because it is also following this rule of how to write the iso. So we will have secondary propyl can also be used with the terminology of isopropyl. Both of them are correct. Okay. While in the case of butyl, secondary butyl is different than isobutyl. Okay. So for instance, if we have this main chain and in case if the connection is this way, if this is the way it is connected, then this is definitely secondary butyl. This is sec butyl. Okay. Secondary can also be written with a number. I can write it as 2-degree butyl. Okay. And on the main chain, if there is another branch connected this way, like this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Then this is isobutyl. This is isobutyl, right? So I hope you understood what is secondary butyl and isobutyl here, right? Same thing will follow for all the alkyl groups. If you just know one of them, that will be sufficient enough. Now, when do we use this? Okay, normally when strict IUPAC is written, we don't use it. But sometimes the IUPAC becomes very complex. So in that case, we will be using as secondaries and isobutyls. I'll show you when. Okay. Now this is about the classification. If you check out the classification, all of these are alkyl groups. Either it is a straight alkyl, which we call it as N-alkyl, or it could be a branched alkyl which is isobutyl or neobutyl or neopentyl or anything like that. Okay, but in case if the connections are to the carbon which has a double bond, like this is when we have alkenyl groups. So in alkenyl groups, when you have some R CH double bond CH, now this double bonded carbon is connected to the main chain. Then we use the word alkene-yl. So basically it is coming from the family of alkene, and when you remove one hydrogen out of it, it will become alkene-yl. Okay. So you can see that this was RCH double bond CH2. That hydrogen I have removed and connected to the main chain here. So it would become alkene-yl. Okay. For example, if we have like this double bond which is connected to the pentyl group here, then I would use the word as pentyne, right? So this would become pentenyl. Okay. Same way, anything which we have a double bond here and connected this way. Now you can check it out. The number of carbons 1, 2, 3. So 3 carbons are present here. So this would become propenyl. So this would become propenyl. Okay. So I guess you can understood wherever there is a double bond carbon connected directly. So accordingly the name will come as ene and yl. Okay, important students. This is the way to write ene yl. Next is alkyne yl. Alkyne yl groups. Suppose if you have R, C, triple bond C, okay, and that is connected to the main chain here, got it? Then that would be called as alkyne because it is coming from the alkyne family, and we'll write it as yl. So understand this, that when you have an alkyne, removing one hydrogen, it will become alkyne yl. Okay. For instance, if we have a group like this where there is a triple bond connected to this main chain here, so this will become pentyne yl. So I guess you understood these two terminologies. So one was simple alkyl which we discussed, then this is alkenyl, right? Then this is alkyne yl. Okay. Now, in case if you have a cyclic carbon connected, okay, so this is cyclic hydrocarbon group which is connected. So in that case, suppose if you have a cyclic hydrocarbon which is connected to the main chain like this, all right. So you can just check out the number of carbons present on it, and accordingly you will give the name. So cyclo is something which you will write first. Then this is coming from propane and it has become now yl. So this will become propane, propyl. 4 carbons, it will become cyclo, butyl, okay, like that. In case if benzene is directly connected to some main chain here, imagine this benzene group is connected. Very important that benzene is read in IUPAC as a branch as phenyl. Okay, it is not benzyl, it is always read as phenyl. So that is something you have to remember. In case benzene is anyway connected to the main chain, it is always read as phenyl. Okay. Any other case you can easily remember if it is alkyl. So you can see these are cyclopropyl group here. So this will be cyclohexyl group here. So this will be cyclohexyl and whatever the main chain is. This is how we write these cyclic hydrocarbon groups. Okay. Now, if you have noticed one thing in all of this fourth classification, so far whatever we have done is single connection with the main chain. You can see one connection, only one direct bond linkage this way. These are all single connections with the main chain. Okay. So, all of them single connections. So, when you have single connections, we have either yl form, enyl form, ynyl form. These are all the branches which we have seen. Okay. Now, there are some special cases where the naming would be slightly different. That is, if you have two different connections, then how do we name it? For example, in case if you have RCH double bond and that itself is directly connected to the main chain. Okay. Instead of single bond connection, it is directly a double bond connection which is connected like this. So if it is a double bond connection on it, then we will call it as alkyl lydene. We will use the word alkylidene. Got it? So for example, if you have CH3CH double bond connected to a main chain. So these are ethyl form, right, which has a double bond connection directly. So it is called as ethylidene. Either it is connected to a main chain like this, or it can be connected to, you know, or it can be directly connected to a functional group like halogens, for instance. In case if it is connected to halogens like this, two chlorines are connected here. So then this is known as ethylidene, ethylidene chloride. Now you do not use the word dichloride, because the minute you write ethylidene, that itself is understood that it is a two linkage carbon here. Got it? So both chlorine should be connected to that carbon. So do not write it as dichloride, it will simply be ethylidene chloride. If the carbon, if the carbon is connected as a polyvalent carbon to the main chain or the functional group, then we use the word ethylidene, okay, or alkylidene. Is this clear? Either those polyvalent connection to be with the main chain or it is with the functional group, then we will always use this as, lydene. So this is about ethylidene. Now, in case if we have benzyl, I mean this is phenyl, right? But instead of phenyl directly connected to main chain, if there is one carbon present here, you remember this is the benzylic carbon. So since it is benzylic carbon, we use the terminology as benzyl now. This is always taken as benzyl. Okay. Now on the benzyl, this is a single connection to the main chain. Suppose if there is any uh, two connections present here from this CH, if at all there are two connections like this, then we will call it as benzal. Then we call it as benzal. And if there are three connections, with that we have three connections this way, then we call it as benzo. We call it as benzo. I'll give you a few examples. Suppose if you have benzene connected with CH and two Cl groups. Okay, so then we'll call it as benzal chloride. Benzal chloride. Or suppose if you have connection like this, where you have benzene with CH double bond O, then we call it as benzaldehyde. We use the terminology as benzaldehyde. So you can see al is coming here, al is coming here. So when you have poly divalent connections with the main chain or with the functional groups, then we use the terminology as al. So this will become benzal chloride or benzaldehyde. Suppose if you have three connections here, so which is the case like this. If we have benzene connected with Cl thrice. Yes, beta. A chlorine, which means it is a single chlorine connected. So what should be the name? This one will be benzyl chloride. This will simply be benzyl chloride. In case if we have three connections, then we will call it as benzochloride. So we can call it as simply benzochloride. Another example which we can see is that benzene with C double bond O, with C double bond O OH. Now you can see that this carbon has trivalency connected, which means one OH here and double bond O here. All of them are connected. So this is called as benzoic acid. So you can see benzo will come here. If anybody has still doubt with this, please do ask now how to write lydene or benzal or benzo forms. Now writing about tertiary or secondary will take some time on this here. Right. So I'll just, without any branches, now I'll show it like a table. Check it out. If you have CH, CH3 and CH3, if this is connected, this side the connection is with the root chain, main chain. Then we can call it as isopropyl. We can call it as isopropyl, or we can also call it as secondary propyl. Commonly used is isopropyl. Got it? So this is more commonly used. Isopropyl is more commonly used. If you write this in terms of the branches, it would become the IUPAC way. If you write down, it will become 1 methyl ethyl. It would be written as 1 methyl ethyl, because you have to count the maximum carbons on it. You can see this is the maximum number of carbon chain, and then count the branches. On the first carbon there is a methyl group, so this will become 1 methyl ethyl. So that would be its name. Got it? So this is the common name which we will use. This is the actual IUPAC names of the branches. Suppose if you have CH, CH2, CH3, and then we have CH3 connected here. So we learned that this is called as sec-butyl, secondary butyl here. The name is 1-methyl. You can see on this carbon you have 1, 2, 3. So on one carbon there is methyl group. So you will call it as 1-methyl propyl. As 1-methyl propyl. Same way, if we have CH2, CH, CH3, right, you can see the last carbons are always like a tertiary form. Then we call it as iso. So this would become isobutyl. So this is isobutyl. See the naming now once again. Here it will be 1, 2, 3, and on the second carbon to have methyl group. So this would become 2-methyl. This would become 2-methyl propyl. So while writing the IUPAC, we would be using this 2-methyl propyl connected to some main chain. Like that, if you check out, we have CH2, C, CH3, CH3 and CH3. Okay. Then we learned this name is neopentyl. We can call it as neopentyl or 2,2. If we check out the longest carbon chain, this is the longest carbon chain. You can take this way also, you can take this way also, you can take this way also, still it is propyl only. So 2, 2, so we have this as 2, 2 dimethyl, 2, 2 dimethyl propyl. That is the IUPAC naming for the branch of neopentyl. Similarly, if you have CH3, 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 so this is directly connected. This I can write it as this carbon connected to 3 more carbons. So we can use the word tert or tertiary, tert-butyl. We can write it as tert-butyl. Or by IUPAC, if you check out, the longest chain is only 2 here, and on the first carbon there are 2 methyls connected. So we can call it as 1, 1 dimethyl, dimethyl ethyl. So that would be the case. Now this tert-butyl is also like a neo form because this carbon is connected to 4 carbons here. So it is neobutyl also, but commonly used is always tert-butyl. See, always we use this as tert-butyl. Last one, if you check out CH2, CH2, CH, CH3 and CH3. Okay. See the number of carbons, 1, 2, 3, 4 is the longest chain here. On the third position we have methyl group present on it. So I will use the word as isobutyl, sorry, this is isopentyl, isopentyl, which can be written as 3-methyl, 3-methyl butyl as IUPAC branch. Now sometimes on the branch, suppose if you have a main chain here, understand this, and this connection is here and the same connection is somewhere, got it? So two similar branches on the main chain at two different positions, correct? Two different positions or even at the same position, it doesn't matter. So as long as you have this way, then we use the words like bis, okay, tris, okay, tetrakis and pentakis and so on. What does this mean? Basically, if you check out, these two are isopropyls, right? These two are isopropyls. And let's say this is at some number 2, this is at number 4. Okay. So both of them are situated at, one is situated at number 2, one is situated at number 4 on the main chain. Got it? Then we will use the word as bis, because there are two of them. So we will be using this as bis. Okay. And write it in the bracket that there are isopropyls, isopropyl. And to mention where exactly they are located, so we will write it as 2, 4 isopropyl. This is the way you can write it. Or we can write it as bis. If you just go back, isopropyl has a name as 1-methyl ethyl. So you would write the same thing as bis, right? 2, 4, right? 1-methyl ethyl, 1-methyl ethyl which is connected. Got it? So we do not write this as 2, 4 di 1-methyl ethyl. We usually use the word bis. Bis itself represents 2 times. Okay. So remember this, bis means 2, tris means 3, tetrakis means 4, pentakis means 5, and so on. I'll show you more with the examples. I'm just giving you the basic terminologies now. Okay. So same branches, if they are repeated multiple number of times at different locations, we would be using this as bis, tris, tetrakis, pentakis, and so on. So this is the classifications which you must learn, how the classifications are. Now, let us get to the next important part, that is how to understand each and every part of IUPAC. Suppose if you have IUPAC naming to be done for different organic compound, there are 3 important parts in it. 3 important parts. And first part being prefix, second part being word root, and third part being suffix. And prefix itself is again categorized into 2 kinds. One is secondary and primary prefix. Similarly, suffix, if you check out, we have secondary suffix and primary suffix. These are the terminologies which you know. And I told you that it will always start with secondary and end with secondary. So order of naming will always be secondary prefix plus primary prefix plus word root plus primary suffix plus secondary suffix. So this is the sequence in which, or the order in which, we write the IUPAC names. Okay. So now our objective is first to learn about secondary prefix. So we'll go in this particular order only. First we learn about this, then about this, then about this, and so on, and we'll finally write the IUPAC names. Right. So first is learning about secondary prefix. So let's see, we have secondary prefix. So in case of secondary prefix, it's all about branches. Secondary prefix is all about branches. We just got some overview of how the branches look like. So we have different types of branches: alkyl branches, alkenyl, alkynyl type of branches. So most used is only alkyl branches. So I'll just write the branch name and what is the secondary prefix name that we have to use. For instance, if we have CH3, we call it as methyl. Okay, in lot of cases you will see only Me is written. Me itself means methyl. Similarly, CH2, CH3, it can also be written as ET, which is ethyl. CH2, CH2, CH3, this is can be written as PR or propyl. Simply you can write it as propyl. Okay. So like that you can write butyl, isobutyl, all of these cases. Suppose instead of just the alkyl groups, in case if a halogen is present, like X, okay, that could be chlorine, fluorine, bromine or iodine. You use the word halo like chloro, bromo, iodo, fluoro and so on. If that is becoming a part of the secondary prefix, we use the terminology as halo. Suppose if you have NO2, we use that as nitro. In case if it is ONO, we call it as O nitrito. If the connection is with nitrogen directly, if carbon is directly connected to nitrogen, we call it as nitro. Suppose if you have NO, then we call it as nitroso. If the connection is NH2, then we use the word amine. If the connection is OH and OH is becoming a secondary prefix, see OH can act, NH2, OH both can act as a functional groups, or some cases it can be secondary prefix also. So in case if you have OH coming, we call it as hydroxo or hydroxyl. So these are few important secondary prefix names. Now for example, I'll put some examples here, check out. For instance, if we have a group like this, now my focus is only on secondary prefix, guys, okay. I'm not writing the complete IUPAC name. Although I write it, just focus more on the secondary IUPAC. So first thing, there is a long chain here which is to be decided. Anyways, if these two are branches on a particular carbon, imagine I'm already giving you the numbering 1, 2, 3, 4. Why it is coming, how it is coming, we'll see that. As of now, just focus on secondary prefix. So on the second carbon, I have two methyl groups. So I will write that as 2, 3 dimethyl, right, butane. Okay, and like I said, only focus on the secondary prefix naming. So observe carefully how to write the numbers, how to give this hyphen and then write it as dimethyl. Suppose if you have a similar case like this, and again I am giving you the numbering already. So on the third carbon, right, you can see there is ethyl group. On the second carbon we have methyl group. So we will have 3 ethyl, right, 2 methyl, 3 ethyl, 2 methyl, and whatever it is after that, it could be pentane, anything, but just focus on the secondary prefix, how to write it. Suppose if you have a branch like this, there are two groups here, one group like this and one group like this. Now again my object is only to check out on the secondary prefixes, all I need the numbering. So let's say 1, 2, 3, this is how the numbering is. So in this case the name would be 2, 3 diethyl, 2, 3 diethyl, 1, 1 dimethyl. Afterwards whatever that comes, basically it is simply cyclohexane. But observe these last two cases which I have written. There are two important things you must understand. While I am writing this, I have written ethyl first and methyl first, not giving the preference to the numbering. So what does this mean? Here the alphabetical order is very, very important. For alkyls, you will always go with the alphabetical order. So between E and M, E comes first. So that's why you have to write ethyl group first and methyl group next. Okay, so this is the first learning you must know, that it is written on the basis of alphabetical precedence. Correct. Second, in the second case also, if you check it out, whenever you have more number of ethyl groups or methyl groups here, first of all you club them all. Then you use the terminology like di, tri, tetra and so on. Now, if you check out, I am not using this D part as an alphabetical order. So, wherever you have numbers, whether it is in the form of a simple numbers or in the form of an alphabeticals. So, this die is not used for alphabetical order, it is only this E versus this M that is being used. So, E versus M alphabetically E comes first, so that has to be written first. Okay. So, the other example I can give you is, suppose if you have Br and Cl here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now here also, first I have to write bromo, then I have to write chloro, because alphabetically bromo comes first. So this will become 2 bromo, right, and 4 chloro, and whatever the rest of the name would be, like that. Suppose if you have group like this, where you have NO here, Cl group here, then I have methyl group like this, NO2 here, and one more Me given like this, Me. Okay, Me means methyl group. Okay, remember that. And let's say the number is given like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Correct? So first you check out the naming of all of them. On the second carbon, I have chloro also, I have nitroso also. Third carbon and fifth carbon, I have methyl group. And fourth carbon, I have nitro, only nitro. Okay, so this is how the group has been. Now you have to figure out which one should come first. So alphabetically, you can check it out that C should come first. So you have to write that naming first. So it would become 2 chloro. So that is how we start. Then between nitro and nitroso, this is not ending, but this group has already ended. So that would be written first. So it will be next 2 nitro, followed by, again, between nitro and nitroso and methyl. Okay, sorry, nitro is on fourth carbon. Right? So it is fourth. So 2 chloro, 4 nitro. Then between nitroso and methyl, still nitroso will come first. So we will write it as 2 chloro, 4 nitro. Then again 2 nitroso, again hyphen. And there are 2 methyl groups on the third position as well as fifth position. So we will write it as 3, 5 dimethyl. And rest of the IUPAC name, whatever that is. Our objective is to only check out the secondary prefix. Okay. Everyone check out the secondary prefix. Have a doubt, let me know. Yeah. Sorry. First dimethyl, correct.
After dimethyl comes. Mhm.
Right. Let me rewrite that once again. So it is 2 chloro, then we have 3, 5 dimethyl, followed by 4 nitro, followed by 2 nitroso. Okay.
For secondary prefix, if you use any common name like secondary butyl like that.
Suppose if you are using number system like secondary, tertiary, then they should not be counted for the alphabetical order. But if you are using ISO, NEO, then you should be using that I and B, I and N also as a part of number system. All right, I'll make you write that.
Sir. Okay.
Yes, everybody understood that. What is secondary prefix? How to use it? Okay, so wherever you have branches, just be careful whether we have to use, uh, try alphabetical order, how to follow that. This is slightly important. Now, one of you were asking me, like, suppose in case if you have try, and so, in that case, sorry, in case if we have tertiary, iso, then how do we use it? Right? So in that, let me show you. I'll write it as a note here so that all of you can remember it carefully. Suppose if different substituents are branches are present, if different substituents are present in parent, suppose if you have iso neo, then consider in alphabetical order. Suppose if you have secondary, tertiary, if you have secondary or tertiary, then do not consider it. If we have di, tri, tetra, do not consider it. Okay. If you have bis, tris, and so on, then also do not consider it. Now, what we discussed is about the secondary prefix. Right? Now, let us learn about primary prefix. So, next one is learning primary prefix. Okay. So, for this, you just need to check out the number of closed chains. Number of closed chains in principal chain. It will be in principal chain, and that would decide what would be the name of primary prefix. For example, if there is no closed chain at all, which means zero number, then there won't be any name that will come. Like all straight chains will not have, right, primary prefix. Remember that. Straight chain, compounds will never have a primary prefix. But if it is one cycle that has been completed, then we will use the word cyclo. For example, if a molecule is like this, so there is one cyclic group here, so that's why it is written as cyclo. In case if there are two cyclic groups, then we use the word bicyclo. Okay. For example, if at all I have a group like this, so there are two cycles which are present. So while writing the name, we will be writing it as bicyclo. So that would be bicyclo. So in case if you have polycyclo, that means if you have more number of closed chains, then that will be polycyclo. So more number of chains would be present in this. Well, for our syllabus, we should not be worried about polycyclo. Rarely we will see bicyclo, otherwise everything is about straight chains and cyclic groups. Alright. So let me write it as a note that primary prefix PP is written just before the word root, or principal chain. Okay. It is absent in open chains. All right. So it would be absent in the open chains. So I guess you understood this. What is about primary prefix now? So primary prefix is simple. If you have cyclic group, you will use this terminology as cyclo before the root chain. If it is bicyclo, you use it as bicyclo before the word root. Okay, everyone. Let me show you how to learn. Word root is purely on the basis of number of carbons. So which is number of carbons, right? Then what will be the word root? Number of carbons, number of word roots, right? Then what will be the name for it? Suppose if there is only one carbon, we use the word root as meth. If it is 2, it is eth. If it is 3, it is prop. Right? If it is 4, it is but. If it is 5, it is pent. If it is 6, it is hex. 7, it is hept. 8, it is oct. 9, it is non. If it is 10, it is dec. Okay. This is what we'll be using. Now there are certain cases in which you could remember if you have more than 10 carbons. Okay, if it is 11, we use the word undec. Un as in 1. Okay. So if it is 12, it is dodec. If it is 3, it is tridec. 14, then it is tetradec, and so on. If it is 20, then it is. Now we'll be using the term as cont. So basically, it will become archont. Then we will have 30, tricont for it, and so on. Not very much used though, but up to 12, it would be better you remember. 1 to 12. What are the root names that we use? Okay. So the root word is simple. You find out the longest chain and whatever the total number of carbons you have, accordingly the name would come. Primary suffix. Learning about primary suffix. So primary suffix is this nature of the carbon bonds. So it represents the nature of carbon-carbon bonds. So for example, if you have all single bonds, right? So if you have all single bonds, the prefix, right? Sorry, the primary suffix name would be ane. So we'll write it as alkane. So if you have a double bond, suppose if there are poly bonds here, right? Suppose if you have more than one double bond, more than two triple bonds and so on, then we use the word di, tri, and so on. Okay. For example, if you have double bond here and double bond here, let me just write the numbering here as 6. Right. Again, I'm focusing only on the primary suffix. So for primary suffix, you can see the double bond is on the first carbon as well as on the third carbon. So if we check out on the first carbon, now please understand this while writing the numbering of double bond or a triple bond. See, on this entire sequence, double bond is starting is between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So between 1 and 2, you'll always check out the least numbering. Same is the case with 3 and 4. You will always take the least numbering, which is 3. So while representing that, so it is actually hex, right? Right. So this is like hex and 1, comma 3 and diene. So you can understand that. So we will be giving priority to the lower numbering of it. So 1, comma 3 and it will become diene. So that's how we will be writing the naming. Suppose another example where students usually get confused. Suppose if you have a double bond here and a triple bond here. From here, if you take the numbering, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We will get numbering 6, or I can go the other way also as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you go by the blue naming, check out blue numbering, the first carbon is getting ene, fifth carbon is getting ine. So first carbon gets ene, fifth carbon gets ine. But if you go with this numbering here, the first carbon is getting ine and fifth carbon is getting ene. So between ene and ine, you should always check out the alphabetical order. So ene and ine, which is more preferred? Ene is preferred. So if you have a single double bond and a single triple bond, then the priority should always be given to double bond with least numbering. Okay, so if this can get the least numbering, then that should give the more priority. So this should be more prioritized compared to this one. Okay, so whatever the numbering is with respect to this blue color, right? So that would be the numbering here. So the numbering should be somewhere it is like hex here with 1 ene and 5 ine. So if you have like ene and ine also being present in that, so in this ene, that last e has to be removed. Same way, if ine come first, the last e has to be removed. The name would be like 1 ene and 5 ine. This is about the primary suffix. Anybody has a doubt, they can ask me now. Anything apart of that? Any doubt here? Chalo. I'll do that case also. What are you saying? Suppose if you have like this with one double bond here and let's say two triple bonds here like this. So I have two triple bonds here and one double bond here. Got it? Now I can go with the numbering like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is one numbering. The other numbering in red color I'll write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So first let us see what happens if at all I write in terms of that blue numbering here. So with respect to that blue numbering, first carbon I'm getting ene, right? And third carbon I'm getting ine, and fifth carbon I'm getting ine. Now with respect to the red color numbering, if you check out first carbon I'm getting ine, okay. Third carbon I'm getting ene, fifth carbon I'm getting, sorry, third carbon also I'm getting ine, and fifth carbon I'm getting ene. Got it? Like I said, alphabetical order is more prioritized, and you can see alphabetically E comes first compared to that of Y. Then that which has least numbering, the in here is at 5 position, in here is at first position. So the least numbering is always to be more preferred. So this is more preferred than this numbering. Okay. So again, the blue one is more preferred in terms of writing the numbering also. All right. Let me take one more case. Suppose in case if we have a double bond here and a triple bond at this terminal, Now, if you go by the numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this is the one way of writing, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if you check out based on the blue numbering, I would get one position as ine and fourth position as ene. And based upon the red numbering, I will get second position, as ene and fifth position as ine. Got it? Understand this. This sum of the locands is more important than anything else. Now here, if you see this sum, they are all coming at the same position. Okay, and the least locands are the most prioritized than anything else. Here, both of them are becoming the same position. That's why we are deciding on the basis of alphabetical order. But here it is not the case. This is 1 and 4. Here it is 2 and 5. So it is clearly the case of least locands. These are called least locands. Locand as in the local numbers. So the least locands are the most preferred way of writing, right? Rather than alphabetical order. If the least locands are same, then and only then we will go with the alphabetical order. Okay? Like between these two, ine and ene, right? So we don't worry about alphabetically which is coming first, but we will check out the priority of which has the least numbering. So here this is more preferred number. Okay. So what would be the name, for instance, if we have to write the name for this? It is hex, right? And 1 ine and 4 ene. So we will write. See, when you have the numbering done, you could clearly observe that first carbon and fourth carbon, correct? This is the numbering which I'll get if I go with this blue numbering. With red numbering, if I do, I'll get second and fifth are the double bond or triple bond positions. Now, between 1 and 4 and 2 and 5, you write down the order of least numbers. Least number is 1 here, least number is 2 here. The next least number is 4 here, the next least number is 5 here. So if you can get at least one least numbering, uh, which is the lowest of the other form, then you should always take that as a priority. Do not worry about their alphabetical order. See, alphabetical order will only come in the case if you have observed in these two examples, numbering wise, both of them are same. That's when we are using alphabetical order as the priority. Here also numbering wise they are same. Either you go from left side or right side, the numbering wise they are same. So when numbering wise they are same, then we can see that priority is an important way of writing the numbers, final numbering. But if the numbering is different, you'll always go with the lowest locant, which means lowest numbering of these two. So which is the lowest numbering? This one is coming as the lowest numbering, so that is given as more priority, alphabetical. So it is 4n 1 ein. Learning secondary suffix. Now secondary suffix is on the basis of what are the functional groups which are present on it. So simply it's on the basis of what are the functional groups it has. So there are various functional groups here. Functional group. Okay. Then the suffix name here, that is secondary suffix name. Now you might be wondering how come secondary prefix name would come. See, every functional group in some or the other case can also be behaved as secondary prefix. Then secondary prefix can also be used at that point. But anyways, right now our object is only about secondary suffix. So secondary suffix, you can see first this is SO3H group. SO3H group is sulfonic acid. So while we write the secondary suffix, we always have to end up with the name as sulfonic acid. So if it is COOH, then that will be carboxylic acid. That will be carboxylic acid. Suppose if we have C double bond O, C double bond O in this connection, then that will be anhydride. So we will write it as alkyl, oic anhydride. This is how we'll end the name. I'll take through few examples. As of now, just I'm writing the table so that you get some idea about what are the groups which you have. If you have C double bond OR, if you have a group like this, then we'll write it as alkyl O8. Write it as alkyl and O8. In case if we have C double bond O X, this is OL halide. We write that as OL halide. In case of C triple bond N, the name is either nitrile or we can use the naming as cyanide. The other naming is if you have N triple bond C with plus and minus, this will be isocyanide. If you have CHO, this is aldehyde, and aldehyde naming will always end with al. Same way if you have C double bond OR group, that is ketone group will end with one, O-N-E, one. And alcohols, OH, alcohols will end with all, OL, all. In case if it is thioalcohols, which is with sulfur, it does thiol. It does thiol. Lastly, if you have any alkyne, we just learned that we write it as with ine. If it is any double bond connected, we write it as ene. And if it is all single bond like this, then it is simply ane. Right. So firstly, try to understand what we write as the secondary suffix. So these are the functional groups, and this is what we write. Generally, what are the names of these functional groups? So if you can recall that this is the first one is sulfonic acid only. First one is sulfonic acid itself. Second one is carboxylic acid. The same naming is coming there. Next one is an anhydride group. Next one is esters. Then these are acid chlorides or acid halides. These are cyanides or isonitriles, cyanides or nitriles. These are also isocyanates. Then these are aldehydes. Next one are ketones. Next we have alcohols, thioalcohols, and alkenes and alkanes. So these are all the functional groups and their respective secondary suffix names. Keep this table
Sir,
open.
in place of alkyl group, can we take hydrogen as, sir?
If I write hydrogen, that will become aldehyde, no? It has to be some carbon.
So then another side, what is located, sir, in the left side of the ketones? You have written
Carbon. This side always carbon. Anything left side which is written, that is all carbon link. Anyways, our priority for as of now is mainly to write about the alkyl groups. We'll slowly get into the functional group part of it. Got it. Now, how to generally write the IUPAC? Give me another 10 minutes. I'll just finish this off. So our objective is to how to write the IUPAC. Task, the first task is to select the principal carbon chain. That is an important task. How to number the carbon chains. Now, when it comes to principal carbon chain, that is task one. Let's say if you have to check about task one, there are two things which you can check out. First, whether they have functional groups, and in case if they have alkanes, which is the longest chain, right? So that's all it is. You have to go on the basis of two things: whether they have a functional group, that should be the main chain with respect to functional group, or which is the longest carbon chain. Okay. So the best practice is to learn is with the examples. So I'll name few of them. Try writing the complete name, everyone. Okay, as much as you can. Don't worry if you can't write it, but try to write as much as you can. And this will give the practice for us. Suppose if a group is like this. So we'll start with these basic ones. Got it? Let's say these are the examples which I gave you, first and second. Everyone, please try to write this first two now. So these two are pretty simple ones. The first one we have to do with the numbering. See, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Suppose if at all I give you the numbering this way 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What are the two tasks I did? First task was to identify the longest chain. Second task was to give the numbering. Right? That is what we have done. These are the two tasks we always have to do with IUPAC. So first task was easy. Second task was giving the numbering. Giving the numbering, we have to give the lowest numbering to the branches. This is called locant numbers. Got it? So carbon number having the branch or multiple bonds or a functional group is called the locant. Okay. So let me just write the definition of that. Locant means carbon number or multiple bonds or functional group. That is what we call it as locant. So here you can see the locant is here at this position. So that should be always the least locant value. So if you can get the least locant, you should always prefer that. So we should prefer a numbering with this blue numbering, not with that red one. So I'll just remove that red one here. So hence the name. The name here is 3-methyl. Name is simply 3-methyl hexane. Okay. See the second one.
3,5 dimethyl heptane.
Perfect. So it is 3,5 dimethyl. Again, here the numbering, either you go from right to left or left to right, it is the same. Because both of them are coming at 3,5. Even if you go this way also, you'll get 3,5. Even if you go this way also, you'll get 3,5. Now, these are very simple cases. Now we'll slightly start twisting the cases now. Suppose in case if we have, now what should be the name?
Methyl cyclopropyl.
Methyl cyclopropyl.
Methyl cyclopropane.
Is methyl cyclopropyl. So we'll start the numbering from here, right? And that would be methyl cyclo. Now, one is default. Even if you do not write, that is fine. So even if you write 1-methyl cyclopropane or simply methyl cyclopropane, it is one and the same. So when it comes to open chain and the closed chain, only for alkanes I'm talking. In alkanes open chain and closed chain, you always need to count the number of carbons, and that should be given the more priority. Okay. So based on that, suppose if at all I want you to write the IUPAC of this. Now write the IUPAC of this one. Cyclopropyl butane. The numbering should always start from here 1, 2, 3, 4.
So now if you check out closed chain, if you would have considered, there are only 3 carbons. Open chain, there are 4 carbons. So the 4 carbon thing is given more priority than the 3 carbons, right? So I'll
Sir,
just write it as a note. Yeah,
for cyclopropyl there should be number, no sir?
this is given as like 1 dash here, so like 1 dash, 2 dash, and 3 dash. Yes, tell me.
No sir, one cyclopropyl should be written, no sir. It can be on the second carbon also.
No, while I'm writing it as cyclopropyl, it always meant it is on the first carbon. If it is on the second position, then you have to specifically mention it as 2-cyclo. Okay. If it is 1, then it is default. Even if you do not write, it is the same thing. Okay. So I'll write it as a note. These are in fact the rules. All right. The rule is between open chain, open and closed chain, carbon number, which is more, is the root chain. Now, suppose next important rule. So I'm slowly disclosing all the rules based on the examples only. So that way it would be easier for us to learn. So suppose if there is one methyl group here and one more methyl group here. Now write the name, everyone.
1-methyl 2-propyl cyclopropane.
Numbering on both the sides is same. Those who haven't understood that, please check this. Suppose if I give 1, 2, 3 like this, or if I give 1, 2, 3 here. In open chain also, I have same number of carbons. In closed chain also, I have same number of carbons. In that case, our priority should be given to number of branches. In open chain, I will get only one branch, right? Check out. This would be the only branch which I'll get on open chain. This entire thing is the branch on open chain. But if it is a closed chain, then this would be a branch and this would be a branch. So 2 branches are being observed. So what does that mean? So in open chain and closed chain, or rather wherever you have 2 different chains, you always prefer that chain which has more number of branches. Got it? If the chain length is same. Everybody understood that? So numbering should be this way. Now between these two, which one should be given more priority? See here, I can write 1, 2, 3 this way or 1, 2, 3 this way. Within this again there is some conflict. I can start 1, 2, 3 this way. Now you check out the alphabetical order. This starts with methyl. This is methyl. So starts with M. 1, 2, 3. This is propyl. Propyl starts with P. So which is more appropriate to write? Then this is more appropriate to write. Everybody got that? So therefore the name should be 1-methyl, 2-propyl, cyclopropane. All right. So again, the note as an IUPAC rule is that prefer more branches as more branches root chain, number of carbons are same. Check out the 6th one here. Suppose if you have a group like this.
2-cyclopropyl butane.
Correct. Very good. So usual confusion is always, somewhere it is there. Students usually miscount them as propane. So usually check out for the longest chain wherever it is. So this is in fact the longest chain. So it would simply be 2-cyclopropyl butane.
1-cyclopropyl 2-methyl propane.
1-cyclopropyl
2-methane.
2-methyl propane.
Okay, which should come first?
2-methyl.
2-methyl should come first or 1-cyclo should come first?
1-cyclopropyl.
Okay. So it should be
1-cyclopropyl.
cyclo. Now we have considered this C and M alphabetical order. In case if you have this way, this with CH double bond CH2. Now write the name, everyone. Cyclohexyl ethene. If you have to go strictly by the numbers, it is 1-cyclohexyl eth1ene. Okay, that will be eth1ene.
Sir, here in cyclic path, they have more carbon, no, sir?
The minute you come across a multiple bond or a functional group, the functional group containing carbons will be more prioritized, whether it is longer or smaller. Agreed? Okay, if you just go back here, right? So that is the first thing I said. Locands having branch or multiple bonds. Got it? The minutes we have multiple bonds, that will be given the lowest locands, and that would be the preferred carbons, longest chain. So let me write it as a note. Write down for this one. We have a double bond here and a group this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and another group this way. 2 methyl. What did you say?
Sorry, sir.
There
Sorry.
are two branches, beta. Check again.
Lag.
1 butyl, 2 ethyl, cyclopropene, sir.
So this would become 1 butyl. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 1 butyl. So it will become 1 butyl. Then we have 2 ethyl cyclopropene. So the numbering should start from here. So 1, 2, 3. Got it? So although the outside carbon chain is longer, we will prefer those carbon chain which has a double bond on it. This is very, very important. I want all of you to write properly. This is the last one we'll let. Very good. So that will be 3-methyl cyclohexene. Okay. Those who haven't understood, learn this carefully that within the cycle, we should always give the priority to the double bond first. So we have to always write it from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We might think like, why can't we write it from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Then the methyl will come on the 6th carbon. So we can't write it like that. So we have to give priority to the double bond with the least numbering. So the red one, what I have written, will be the right number.